Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to What She Said. How's everybody doing? It is Thursday. I told y'all in Atlanta, that's Friday Eve. So it already feels like the weekend. People are out and about. The weather has calmed down a little bit. We were experiencing what seems to be our third winter. That's what they call it here. Meaning yesterday it was so windy, I thought I was in Chicago, and temperatures dropped to freezing. It's supposed to drop again to freezing tonight, but no rain, therefore no snow, no ice. So once we get past this winter, I think we will align with, what is it? When you move the clock forward, daylight saving time, which I heard is next week already. And it'll get later in the day, as well as it'll start to warm up a little bit. Around here, 60 is good, because 60 with the sun on a sunny day feels like 70, 72. So we're almost there. We're almost there. How's everybody doing? Hey, Gracie. Hey, 400 Circle Media. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Thank you so much. We got a good show planned for tonight. I'm going to start off first by saying congratulations to Mr. Saquon Barkley. $2 million, $41 million contract for 2 years. How about those apples? Now, that's what showing someone that they're valuable to you looks like. Hopefully, the New York Giants is taking notes. This is how you treat a player that can help you get to the Super Bowl. You pay them handsomely. You don't tell them go out there and see what you can get, and then we'll talk about it. No, you make them a priority, which is what the Philadelphia Eagles just did. They gave him the bag. $41 million over a 2-year period. Excellent. Excellent. I was thinking to myself, I don't know why it's 2 years, but who cares? At least they paid him, and they can revisit it at the end of next year. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles, I know Jalen Hurts for sure, want to make a repeat. And if they do, they might give him another 1-year extension, So this is how you show someone they are valuable and that they are a priority. You pay them handsomely. So congratulations to Saquon Barkley. Hey, Queen T, how you doing? Okay, so we spring forward on Sunday. Okay, I'm not mad at that. Not mad at all. Okay, so this Sunday. Hey, Damon, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so I had a nice young fella to the stage. Does anybody know who this is? Drop his name in the chat if you know who this is. I could have used him in his football uniform, but I did not. I wanted to see how astute everyone was, what your football acumen is like. So I give you a second to drop this young man's name into the chat. You might be able to see it, but, hey, I just want to see who's out hanging out with me and who kind of knows about football. Let's see. Yes, this is Trevor Lawrence. Okay. Plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was drafted number 1 overall in 2021. Coincidentally, the same year that colleges started having NIL for above board, official NIL for players. So yeah, drafted number 1 overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So in April, right before the draft in 2021, Sports Illustrated did an interview with Mr. Lawrence, and he basically ruffled some feathers because he said, basically football, he doesn't live for the sport of football. He's not obsessed with it. He enjoys it, but he's not obsessed with it. And he doesn't play with a chip on his shoulder, right? So that's what he said. And people got upset with him because they felt like he should have said something else. Now, y'all see what's going on with Sheduer. We've never heard Sheduer say how he feels about the game of football, that he doesn't like it, that he doesn't need it. They try to put words in his mouth, yada, yada, yada. All you hear is that he's confident, right? And that his confidence is why he should drop in the draft. Imagine not wanting a quarterback that's confident, that's passionate, loves the game, not just a team player, wants to win even when somebody's coming at his knees, but stays at the combine to watch his receivers run. And then when asked who he want to throw to in the NFL, he names all of his receivers from Colorado. That's not what y'all want. Y'all want this guy right here. See, Trevor Lawrence said what he said, and people were upset about it. But guess what? They still drafted him #1 overall. You see how that works? But Sheduer, oh, he's dropping down in the draft. He's going to go number 21. He's going to slide out the first round. He's too confident. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. That's ridiculous. Okay. In fact, after reading different publications today, I can say with confidence that Sheduer Sanders has won this round of the war that the media, sports media, some have waged against him, including some NFL scouts and coaches. Sheduer won this round. He's somewhere off filming a Gatorade commercial. People are excited to see it. I don't know what it's about. They asked him what he thought about people saying he's going to drop in the draft. Sheduer said, that's fool's gold. I agree. How you like them apples? You still drafted Trevor Lawrence first after he told you. He don't play with a chip on his shoulder. He just like to play the game. He don't think people out to get it. He don't have that factor. And it shows. In fact, earlier in 2024, it was said when the Jaguars started at 0-3 this year that, maybe we ought to talk about his pre-draft comments and maybe we should have took him at face value. Maybe you should have, but you didn't. But you quick to take someone like a Sheduer Sanders and try to drop him down at the first round because he's confident. You don't like confidence in your quarterbacks. You don't want your quarterback to be confident. I guarantee you, when you're trying to convert to a 4th down and you behind by 10 and you don't want your team to give up on you, you want your quarterback to be confident that he can win, because we saw it many times with Colorado. Sheduer stayed in mode. He's unflappable, but you're upset because he's confident. Well, too bad. You lost this round. You lost this round. Unnamed sources. And going forward, if you can't name the source, how about just don't mention it? How about take it to your grave? Because we don't need to be out here trying to battle unnamed sources, because does the unnamed source really exist? Or is this just how you stir the pot or the mess in the pot? So after, Sheduer's been interviewed by so many people. Different executives are coming out talking about how poised he is, how calm he is, etc. Right? So there's an article today basically saying that Sheduer was trying to take his interviews for the teams that he doesn't want to go to. Now, I don't know if that's the case or not because I wasn't there, but that's how they feel. They said he didn't seem interested when it came to teams that he don't want to pick him. Okay? I don't apply to jobs that I don't want, especially if the organization's trash. And if they call me because they found me, I'm going to listen to what they have to say. But I'm probably not going to be enthused because chances are they're not serious about winning. And the article goes on to say, well, maybe these teams ought to get used to these players having leverage. See, they're not upset that Sheduer is confident. They're upset that he has leverage. And it's not just his confidence, it's his bank account. So the article goes on to talk about how players coming out of college now, like Sheduer with a $6 million valuation, Travis was about $6 million after that Adidas deal. They pretty much have some say-so. But what did we talk about 2 weeks ago? This is not new for certain players to say, I don't want to go here. You're terrible. No. He's not the first player to do so. I don't know why they're so offended that he wants to go to a winning organization, or, excuse me, he didn't even say he wanted to go to a winning organization. I believe his words were, if you're not willing to change the culture of the organization, meaning to win, or you're not willing to change the coaching so you can get better and win, don't draft me. He didn't mince his words. He's not the only person that has felt that way. We talked about Caleb Williams' father said he didn't want Caleb to go to Chicago. And Caleb goes where? He wanted his son to go back to USC because he didn't want to see his son career killed in Chicago. And then what? Caleb gets sacked 65 times? So his father was right. But people got upset when his father said he could go back 1 year. And it was like they were going to gang up on Caleb, which to me, I believe that they did. But they were going to gang up on him and drop him in the draft. Caleb had a $10 million NIL valuation. Him dropping in the draft is not a threat that matters. Same thing for Sheduer. Oh, he's going to drop in the draft. Where? From 1 to 4? From 4 to 6? I think 6 might be where he want to be anyway. In fact, I saw a mock draft today that said, Sheduer Sanders, the Raiders look like they're going to trade up for Sheduer Sanders. I said it months ago. It's saved on my IG stories as a highlight. I've always said this. The question was, were they going to trade up to the Browns pick? And now that Tennessee say they don't know if they want their pick, they're going to trade up to the number 1 pick. Do I believe they're going to trade up to get Sheduer? Absolutely. Absolutely. The question is, will we be surprised that the Browns want to trade up to get Cam Ward? Because I also saw something that I don't believe. The Giants could be trading up to get Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward might be wearing green and white. Because if the Giants draft Cam Ward, they must be making a 100% about face, a whole 360. Because I'm going to say it again. The Giants have never had a black starting quarterback. This will be the first time. This organization that fumbles Saquon Barkley gonna make that type of about face, and they fumble Saquon Barkley. Nope. It could be a bridge out here for $1.99. I don't believe it. Too good to be true. And that's why teams are upset, because Sheduer is basically not just confident that he could win. You're not mad because he's confident. You mad because you know he don't want to go to some trash organization that you think he don't have a choice in the matter. That's why they mad. You think he don't have a choice in the matter. The Manny's had a choice. Other players had a choice. I could go back and get the list. We could talk about it tomorrow. Sheduer is not the first player to have leverage, but he will not be the last. See, if you worried about going number 1 through 5, then maybe the NFL has leverage over you, because you absolutely have to play the game and say what they want to hear to go 1 through 5. But with this new pay scale of only being $2 million difference every round, it's a 4-year contract for everybody. You can't alter it. You can't add to it. You can't subtract to the contract. What difference does it make if I have $6 million in my bank account in a wealthy parent, wealthy parents? What difference does it make if I don't go 3rd, 4th, 5th, but I go 6th to the team that I believe wants to win? To a team that embraces me and doesn't see my confidence as a negative. In fact, I saw an article today that said, one team's brash is another team's treasure. The Cleveland Browns love Sheduer and came out and said it again. I told y'all, Cleveland is bullish on Sheduer Sanders. I don't know what they got going on. We know they got a credit to shop with. We know they say they're not broke. I told you I heard Sheduer and Travis's name at the same time. We know they interviewed Cam, Sheduer, and Jalen Milroe, who I said was possibly going to the 2nd round, but he could bump up as well, because the Saints have a pick in the 1st round. And I told y'all the connection. Jalen Milroe, Jalen Hurts, Kellen Moore, and Agent Nicole Lynn from Clutch Sports in Philadelphia, now to the Saints. We talked about that. And once again, Cleveland loves Sheduer. So to the team, and I told y'all I knew who it was. See, I knew who it was because by process of elimination, they not on this picture right here. See, look at who's on this picture right here. That the Browns, the Saints, and Minnesota. Did you hear Minnesota say anything negative about Sheduer? Did you hear the Saints say anything negative about Sheduer? You haven't even heard these teams mention Sheduer because they know how to conduct business, and they're not out here trying to defame him, whether they intend to pick him or not. The Browns, right here, right here on this picture. Once again, they're speaking out. And now you have not just sports analysts, you have true media publications speaking out saying, well, if he's brash to you, cool, because that's what we want. We want confident. That's what Cleveland want. You think Cleveland don't want a confident quarterback after what they've been through with Deshaun Watson? Hoping that they were going to get a veteran who was good, who was likely mistreated by his previous organization. But unfortunately, his health just is not where it needs to be. Now, I told y'all my theory. I could see them drafting with their second round pick, maybe Jalen Milroe, because they still have $45 million on the 2026 books for Deshaun, unless they can trade him. And I don't know where he will be tradable to. I remember one time, I think the Carolina Panthers said that Cam Newton wasn't tradable. So you can get a not tradable label and just get cut and be gone. But I don't know if that can happen with Deshaun Watson because he is still guaranteed to get $45 million in 2026. We know there's an insurance claim in 2025 that gives them the cap space. That clearly gives them the cap space, but they're going to use all of it? We talked about this. They love Sheduer Sanders in Cleveland, and fans are starting to warm up to the idea. Fans in Cleveland are scared to get excited about Sheduer because they can't believe it. It is kind of hard to believe. But Cleveland say they got money. That's what they see. So, like the article said, one team's brash is another team's treasure. And to me, if they don't pick a quarterback with the first pick, they're going to trade that pick to Vegas. That's from 6-2. Now, what's going on with the Titans to get the number one pick? I don't know. I don't know if they going after Travis. Some people say Travis going to the Patriots. I don't know. I don't know if Cam is still in the running in Tennessee. I really don't know. But I do know that the one team that has had negativity about Sheduer, and it was in the form of, oh, we don't know about Sheduer because his father is ever present in his life. Okay. That was the Giants. And we talked about this. And if you ask me, that's who's trying to trash him, because likely when he met with them, they felt some type of way about his announcement that if you're not willing to change the club culture or the coaching, and who has the problem? Nobody said anything about the Titans coaching. The Titans just have a new GM, so nobody knows what they're going to do. The Browns just have the Deshaun Watson contract, salary cap issues. So we don't know what they're going to do. But the Giants, we know they fumbled Saquon Barkley. Why would I want to go there? If you couldn't value Saquon Barkley, then why would you value me? And on top of that, you have never had a black starting quarterback. And the last thing any of us want to see is the Giants draft Sheduer Sanders and bench him, because we will find some kerosene. Believe that. Believe it. So we don't want the Giants playing with Sheduer's career. Nobody does. And the problem is, that's what it seems like they're only interested in. You fumble Saquon Barkley. You're out here speaking negativity about a quarterback because his legendary NFL father is present in his life, guiding him as he should be, which is not foreign to you, because Manning was a part of your ball club for a number of years. So you didn't have any issue with Archie Manning guiding his sons. So why would I want to go to the Giants? Tell me why. It's a lot of people probably don't want to go there, but they're not in Sheduer's position. Some of them right now, after they left school, if they didn't have these $1 million NIL deals, because not everybody did, they just might have to grit and bear it and just hope and pray that 4 years is the most that they can give to the Giants organization and move on, because the Giants have not proven that they are interested in winning anything, be it division, conference, and the Super Bowl just seems far-fetched. So my hope and prayers, go out to Malik Neighbors. So if you're offended and somebody don't want to come to your ball club, get it together. Because trying to defame them is not going to work, because it's not working right now. It's too many people out here who know that Sheduer is a good quarterback and that the New York Giants have fumbled Saquon Barkley. I mean, come on. After fumbling Saquon Barkley, y'all have no credibility. Be happy with what you get. See, the tables have now turned. Now you got to be happy with what you get. The player has an upper hand coming there because they don't have to come there. They're not the first they wouldn't be the first players to go, no, nope. So get your ball club together and stop trying to defame players because they have leverage. So like the article said, players coming out of college now with these multi-million-dollar deals, Arch Manning will be another one of them. How do you really think the Manning family would feel about Arch Manning if the Giants, in their current situation, after fumbling Saquon Barkley, wanted him to go there? They have familiarity there. They probably have some pull that they could get some people moved out of the front office over there. I'm willing to bet you the Mannings have that much pull that they could get some people moved out of that front office and have some decision-making ability within that ball club. Something they didn't want Sheduer Sanders to admit that he has as well. So Sheduer Sanders has won this round. Do I think they're going to continue to try to attack him? Of course. But he's picking up steam. He's winning. It's not letting it bother him. He's off shooting his Gatorade commercial. The Browns keep showing him love. The fans are starting to rub their hands together like Birdman. Like, maybe it could really happen. We could really, really get Sheduer. And for any Raiders fans that have a problem with Sheduer coming there to win, then maybe y'all need to pick another ball club. Because it's 2.1 million of us out here that are ready. Ready to buy some tickets, come to Vegas, get the merch, watch on TV. Because we know he can change the culture and he can have a winning culture at any club because he's done it 3 times. He was being modest when he said 2. I remember he changed the culture at his high school. They went to the championship a few times and haven't been since. So go find you another team to watch because we coming. Hey, everybody. How you doing? How y'all doing? So, yeah, these players have leverage now. There are going to be some players that's just going to play the game. But I told y'all that 99% of these players, just like Myles Garrett, they want to win. And then who else recently requested a trade request? And I'm not surprised because that was his old coach that's now in Vegas, DK Metcalf. And it looks like he might get traded and the club doesn't seem to be standing in the way. Maybe he's a free agent. I don't know. But the point is he made a trade request and people are talking about where he could go. I'm thinking Vegas. So, essentially these players do have some leverage, some veterans. Look at Matthew Stafford. His team basically said he can go out there and feel around and see how much he can get, but they didn't do it in the same disrespectful manner that the Giants did. They made it clear we have every intention of making sure Matthew Stafford is a Ram next year, and he will be. So they were like, you could go ahead and go, but just know we want you to be here. See, that's the way you do it. You treat people like you want them to be a priority. But if you want to go look, I understand. But we really want you to be a Ram next year, and he will be. So shout out to Matthew Stafford for knowing his worth. All right, let's see who's in the comments. It says, nobody knows who made that statement. Nobody's telling who made that statement. So all of the GMs, all 32 teams aren't speaking. Right. And they know who made it. And I agree. Nobody wants to tell. But like I said, this was a knock and it was an indictment on the coach that said it. And, for a reporter to put that out there, it depends on what side they were on. But in my opinion, Sheduer won this round because he's still moving forward. And when they say he's dropping in the draft, I put in somebody's comments, what he going from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, what? Because that's not dropping. And when he said it was fool's gold, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And to the people that feel like he wasn't interested when he interviewed, I mean, if you don't really know him, are you sure he wasn't interested? I mean, really? So to put that out there is like stirring the pot. And it's really letting other players know, look, you don't have to go to one of these ball clubs. And the pressure should be on the ball clubs to get their culture of winning together, to get some coaches that actually know how to call plays and want to win and not hire your buddies sister-in-law, brother, cousin, because it's a cushy job. I mean, the organization not going to run itself if the person is inept. And that's the case in New York. So now that publications are writing about, Sheduer Sanders, this is the new normal. These players have leverage. They're coming in with millions of dollars. They don't care about going 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. It depends on how much money they have. Remember, see, the scale is now working against teams because it's not a big deal to go from 1 to 2 or from 2 to 5. It's really not if you already have millions of dollars in the bank. And that was Caleb's scenario. So the pay scale is working for the players, because if the organization is terrible and they don't make any changes, I'm only there for 4 years. They're going to have players that end up there that have absolutely no choice, that's going to say what needs to be said. They're going to bide their time, their 4 years, and when free agency comes, they're going to be out the door. So maybe that's why the players did it, because they understand what we don't as fans, or what we haven't seen. And it's that I don't want to get buried in an organization for 7 years for money when my priority is to win. Hey, 400 Media. It's saying the last time I checked, an interview is a two-way street, because you have the position and I have the talent, and it has to benefit me as well. Right. Exactly, Queen T. But see, that's what they don't want. They want the players to come in out of desperation. I'm like, okay, so y'all don't know NIL exists and these players are making bank? Look at what is his name? Carson Beck. Carson Beck went to Miami for 1 year for $4 million. Now, we talked about the salary scale, and if he was predicted, he wasn't going in this round first. So whoever guided him correctly. You think they're gonna be mad with whoever guided Carson Beck this year? No, they're gonna respect it as a financial long-term future business decision, and it was a smart decision, because if he was supposed to go in the 3rd round, the most he's gonna make is $4 million, and that's spread out over 4 years. So that's $1 million a year. So what did Carson Beck do? He bet on his future. I'll take this $4 million right now, and I'm going to go play at Miami. Whatever will be, will be. But I have $4 million after taxes. I have $4 million and then taxes. And then I can go into the league. And it doesn't matter if I go second half of the 1st round or top of the 2nd, because that's a $9 million contract. If I was only going to get a $4 million or $6 million contract anyway, then why on earth would I care about a $9 million contract when I got 4 sitting in the bank? 9 plus 4 is what? Okay. The math is mathing. These players have leverage. Carson Beck will have leverage. People suggested that Quinn Ewers go back to school. Now, his case is a little different. I think he was projected to make about $6 million. But another school wanted him to transfer. He said no, because the money was going to be the same. So he would rather take his chances on coming to the NFL, going to the combine, getting his stock up, and instead of going 3rd or 4th round, maybe he goes the bottom of the 2nd for maybe $8 or $7 million. Not a bad decision. It's a gamble, but he believes in himself enough. And I don't really know if I heard anything negative about Quinn Ewers at the combine. So these guys are out here making business decisions. So why would I come to your league and just suddenly not want to make a business decision and just take whatever you want to hand me? Who's being arrogant now? These scouts and these so-called anonymous coaches that have something to say about one player because he's rich, he can choose. He's not the first person to choose. He's not going to be the last. So kudos to whoever wrote that article for Athlon. This is the new normal. Players have leverage, and you want your quarterback to be confident. So the haters going to have to find another way to hate. And in fact, how about you just embrace the culture of players coming in and wanting to actually play the game and not retiring after 1 year or going to a different league or trying to start their own league. They actually want to still play in the league. There's a lot of good to like in terms of these players coming in, making $6 million already, and they still want to put their bodies on the line to try to win a Super Bowl. You should be happy about that. It said, now my sister let him come to the Jets for real. You talking about Cam Ward? I would like to see Cam Ward as the QB1 for the Jets. I keep telling y'all, I think the Jets gonna make that move from, what is it, 9-1? Are they 6-1 or 7-1 or whatever it is? I think the Saints, the Jets, and the Raiders are all gonna be vying for that number 1 pick from the Titans if they want to move off of it, and the Browns, number 2 pick. Don't be surprised if the Giants trade their pick. Don't be surprised. It said they have no leverage. This is the creepiest drafted to get the letter. It said they don't care how much money they made outside of the team because they're not on the team yet. Right. It says the choice is to get drafted. That is the choice. That's it. It said 3.5 years is how most players are judged in NFL. If they don't perform within 3.5 years, they're out of the league. And then and that's true. And a lot, what do we say? The average, that is 3.5 years is actually the average of an NFL career. Yep, we said that. Yep, we said that. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, Sheduer somewhere shooting a Gatorade commercial, different publications are actually showing the point of view of a player having a preference or not being enthused about going to a consistently mismanaged ball club. I never heard Sheduer or anybody else say anything about the Titans. I never heard the Titans say anything about Sheduer. I do believe he met with them. Regina told us she thought Sheduer was actually in Nashville interviewing with the Titans. And I could actually see that because right before the Titans actually move off this pick, they want to look at every possibility here on how it could benefit, the ball club. And why wouldn't I talk to the most accurate QB in college football, the face of college football, with Sheduer Sanders? Why wouldn't I want to talk to him? Of course you do. And remember, this wouldn't be their first meeting. This would be their second or possibly their third, because the Shrine Bowl, the cluster meetings, the Titans was involved. So were the Browns. And I think, was Dallas involved in that cluster meeting? I don't know. I'm hearing a lot about Dallas not really doing much right now. They feel like the organization is in a state of confusion. I don't know what's really going on. Some people said that Jerry Jones not speaking at the combine was negative. But I think he said, remember I said Jerry Jones said he would be on his bus. So he had the local beat reporters come to his bus rather than meet with the global media. So I don't know. So if any Dallas fans out here, let me know what y'all hearing about Dallas. It said they need to come to the league to get exposed, because if they don't come to the league, what exposure are they going to get? What they're going to do play in Canada? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. The way you treat people will make the determination if I'm happy with $6 million and I'm going to invest it and make generational wealth or not. Because even though these players want to play in the league, if they're not treated right, and I mind you, there were some players already retiring that surprised people. Oh, so-and-so is retiring, not wanting to continue on in NFL. One guy went to MIT. One went back to college to do different things. So here's the thing. They need each other. And the league can't act like these players need to be in a subservient, desperate position and hold that type of negativity as leverage. That's not what you want. The league has to have credibility. And I'm not talking about the league. These teams make up a league. And it's too many teams out here with issues that kill players' careers. Nobody wants to be drafted to a team that is known as a career killer. And we talked about this about a week and a half ago. When is the NFL going to start putting pressure on these teams who are comfortable with their big multi-billion-dollar valuation, but not trying to get to the Super Bowl or put together a roster that can at least win a conference or divisional championship? We talked about that. So in my opinion, it works both ways. Earlier today, I got a notification on my phone from IG about a league that I had never heard of called the UFL. I don't know what it is. I looked it up. It said it was spring ball, etc. Right? I'm thinking that might be the one owned by The Rock, but they had this very, very, very popular content creator named Destroying doing content for them. And I don't know if y'all know who Destroying is, but this is a prime example of players having choices. He was in college before NIL. I forget where he went to school, but he was on scholarship to play D1 football, I believe. And he had a YouTube channel. And his YouTube channel was monetized, and it had 500,000 subs at the time. Or maybe 50,000, I don't know. But he was making money from his YouTube channel. Now, remember, prior to the official start of NIL in 2021, you couldn't really make money as an athlete. So he had a D1 scholarship and YouTube channel. So basically, the school told him, well, you're going to have to get rid of your money-making YouTube channel if you want to keep your D1 scholarship. He chose his YouTube channel. Destroying is huge. He's huge. He chose, what did he choose? He chose his future, something that he could pretty much control himself. And he has. This young man now runs around the country. He's played with the Brahmas, I think, in San Antonio of the UFL. I think he was thinking of giving up his career, but they didn't ask him to make a choice. They're fine with him making content because he makes content that, that exposes the team to people who don't know about the league, such as myself. So again, the NFL is a two-way street. You need top-tier talent. You can't just get anybody, because then the whole league is going to be mediocre, and then that talent is going to go somewhere like the UFL, and we're going to watch that. Don't think it can't happen. See, what people don't understand is fans revolt with their attention that they pay to your organization and their wallet. There's already a few organizations out here. The Carolina Panthers had to reduce their tickets to $1 or buy one, get one. The Giants had something going on as well, where the fans were revolting with their wallets. Don't think it can't happen. And the biggest mistake is we're too big to fail. You're never too big to fail. And you can't shrink yourself to greatness. So it's best to go ahead and respect the players and get good coaches and GMs that aren't biased and feel like only Black quarterbacks can't be confident. That's the first thing you need to change yesterday. We wouldn't be having this conversation because Trevor Lawrence, after he made his comment, sure, they were upset, but they didn't drop his draft status. They never even talked about it. And he still was drafted first. And now, after he's not a good quarterback, he's ranked number 94 out of the NFL 100. Now they want to revisit 2021. Thank you. Hey, Carly, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you for showing us some love. We'll see you again next time. I appreciate it. So, it's a two-way street. Being upset that players have choices and not wanting to pay for an organization that is not prioritizing women. I said this. If the players can $20 million check or this $10 million check, and I'm not going to work out like I'm supposed to, or I'm not going to invest in getting to a Super Bowl, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? So the teams can't afford to be lazy and only go after ticket sales and merch or capitalize off of ads, advertisements. You have to want to win, or players will not want to play there. And they have every right to want to be part of an organization whose priority is to get to the Super Bowl. Even if you don't get there, you have to put together a squad that makes it look like you're trying to get there. And fumbling Saquon Barkley is the biggest indicator that you're not interested in winning. So you can't get mad if nobody wants to go to an organization that fumbles a star like Saquon Barkley, that the GM has to put on the clock, who honestly should have been fired. XFL and USFL combined to make one league. Okay, that's what it is then. Okay, I might watch that. I don't know. I'ma always watch my guys play. Believe me. And really, that's probably what they have. You know, how do you shun somebody that has 2.1 million followers on one platform alone, and they gonna bring those people with them? It said they are just a few of them were in a financial situation that were not effective, but 80% of the players need that financial revenue to sustain them. Everybody's not a superstar. Oh, I agree. But at the same time, you don't bash a player just because they are a superstar and they are confident and that they want to make a choice that others have made before. I think, was it John Elway, they said, made a decision that he didn't want to go somewhere. Like I said, this is not a new occurrence. The problem is, it seems to be that for Sheduer to feel this way, and he didn't say anything. He just confident. Like, you can't get mad that a player is confident and he's supposed to be the leader of the team. You need your leaders to be confident. So that makes me look at, okay, what's the real issue going on here that you can't say out loud? Because if you did, you know, you would face probably some of the severest backlash. Sheduer never told these people he didn't want to go anywhere. They were hating on him before he even got to his interviews. So what? They have a "I'ma show you" attitude? That's not the attitude to have. You shouldn't want your players to need the lead. You should want your players to have the passion for the game, because after you meet my needs, I'm gonna be lackadaisical. If I don't have a passion for the game, I'm not gonna stay around. I might be here for 4 years, and that's enough for me, because I have to sacrifice my body out here every game. And then they want to add another game to the schedule. They have a look at the TV deal. Plus, they have NFL coaches for some of those players will go to the NFL after this season is over with, because a lot of scouts watch those games. Are you talking about the UFL or whatever? Okay, that's good. That's never not going to happen. The NFL is a monster. It's an engine only unto itself. The UFL is secondary right now, but I'm telling you, how many corporations out here that when you were a teenager existed and they don't exist anymore? You can name a lot of them. And over the years, how many banks have folded and collapsed and had to be bailed out, only to come back and be bailed out again and merge into what is now called the Big Five? I was a bank teller in college. I know all about it. How many retail corporations have folded? So it's not, see, things change and you have to evolve with it. And like I said, the league overall, I think is fun. The Super Bowl was fun. The game itself, I like what they're doing with Jay-Z, with him consulting on halftime shows, because honestly, it has been better. I think maybe next year, I don't know who it'll be, but it'll be fun. People will want to know. I said maybe it could be Taylor Swift. Maybe it could be Sheduer and Post Malone, or it could be Future and Travis Scott. I don't know. But the point is, I know it's going to be good and people are going to look forward to it, because Kendrick Lamar had the highest ratings out of any NFL halftime show. So as long as the game continues to be competitive and the players feel valued and not as commodities. See, as time goes on, things change. Before NIL, players maybe didn't have leverage, but there were still players that chose for themselves. Sheduer didn't even make a choice. He didn't say he's not passionate about the game. They're whining about his confidence. And like the article said, one team's brash is another team's treasure. Come on over here, the Browns. So Sheduer won this round, because there are teams out here that I said that are poised to win, and they want Sheduer to be their star quarterback. So, my thing is things change, and you can't ever feel like it's okay to mistreat a group of people who are part of your organization. In fact, make up the majority. And don't think I don't see certain positions going to certain demographics to make sure that majority don't get too far on the black side. I've noticed that for the last couple of years. I just don't talk about it. I don't talk about everything I know. But the point is, things can change. And the article is right. These players coming out of college are the new normal when it comes to having leverage. Now, Caleb had leverage, and his father just said, I don't want my son to go to a bad team. And they descended upon him. And Caleb went to the Bears and got sacked 65 times. So Caleb's father was right. So now Sheduer is just confident they want to descend upon him as well. But they want to negatively affect his draft stock. They were upset when Trevor Lawrence said that the game isn't his, he'd be fine without the game, or that what did he say? He doesn't play with a chip on his shoulder, etc. They were upset about it, but he still went number 1 overall. Nobody was threatening his draft stock. So to me, that seems the hatred seems to be coming with bias, and that's what I'm talking about. You keep going down that path too much, and these players coming in with millions, and you have another league coming on that's growing to become successful. Yeah, the tide can switch. The pendulum can swing all the way to the left. It might not happen in one season, but it does happen gradually. Then you find yourself backpedaling to get star talent that's going to another league. Remember, if I have $6 million coming out of college and I don't like the way the NFL is treating people that look like me, I can go to the UFL if they're going to treat me like a star because I already have money. So you can never say never. That's what I'm going to say, Kiel. You can never say never. Yeah, it's an engine by itself, but when the owners continue to get in the NFL, that's going to make a big change. I agree, Queen T. And the reason for that is, you have Serena Williams and her sister and a few others who are part of this ownership group in Miami. And one of my comments after the whole Tyreek Hill incident, I believe that the reason that the Miami Dolphins statement was so exact, not mincing any words, point spot on, about the way Tyreek Hill was mistreated, I felt like it was because they're part of that organization. And that is why I'm telling y'all, these ownership groups are making a difference. The latest with the Bills having Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady. And I don't know who's going to be next. I don't know how it works. I told y'all Atlanta has the ownership group. Now, obviously, with the owner himself choosing to, and it was the owner himself that decided to bring in Kirk Cousins. And I felt like the coach, Raheem Morris, was trying to please the owner and not starting Michael Penix Jr. In fact, it was said that the owner was like, I'm going to bring in Kirk Cousins, but you decide who you're going to start. But then this man just got this job. He's trying to keep his job. So he tries to please the ownership by benching Michael Penix Jr. and it just blows up in his face. And at the end of the season, everybody want him fired, which he should have just did his job and started Michael Penix Jr. and just let the chips fall where they may. Because if you damned if you do and you damned if you don't, you might as well do what needs to be done. Magic Johnson, yep. Condoleezza Wright, yep. So there's a lot of ownership groups popping up in these different teams. I do think it'll make a difference. And like I said, the NFL overall, I think is fun. But I think this particular scenario with an anonymous coach attacking Sheduer for being confident had nothing to do with his skill set. I think it shows you that there's still too many people associated with the NFL who probably ran in that same circle with the people who wanted Lamar Jackson to switch to wide receiver and didn't think he would be a good quarterback. If you go back and look at some of the knocks against these quarterbacks, these black quarterbacks, you're like, geez, the things that they're saying. And to me, this whole thing about fixing Caleb Williams, I'm like, I don't think it's Caleb that needs to be fixed. I'm like, when you gonna fix the organization? See, that's arrogance in itself, to think that every quarterback that comes through is the problem. No, your organization is the problem. So we'll see what happens this year. But for Caleb to be sacked 65 times, it just plays right into my theory. What I said about these young black quarterbacks coming into the league and starting, that there is a faction of the NFL, probably part of the same faction that had all of this negativity trying to tear down Sheduer for being a confident, black, wealthy, educated young man who didn't say anything wrong and his skill set was not being challenged here. People like that, which is why they want to stay anonymous. That clan of people are the people that the NFL needs to rid itself of. Just rub it out. Family, did you hear Stephen A. comment about Sheduer Sanders and Coach Prime? I feel like it was on point. No, what did he say, Crowley? Nope, but if you want to put in the comments what it is, I'm happy to hear it. So, Sheduer, in my opinion, won this round. And it's not against the entire NFL. Bucky posted photos of the NFL showing Sheduer love on the NFL platforms. So again, it's not the entire NFL. Again, there's a few teams out here who feel that they can treat the players like a commodity and not a person. And it's that faction, that clan, that has to move on, that has to be pushed out. And I don't know if the answer is ownership groups. To me, I don't understand why the NFL, since these are franchises, if I have a Chick-fil-A out here mistreating customers, and they a franchise, I'm pretty sure Chick-fil-A corporate is like, hey, I can't have you out here. So I'm gonna need you to sell your franchise, or you're gonna need to get it together. But we can't have you being biased against a racial group under the Chick-fil-A umbrella, because it's not a good look for my brand. You feel me? So I don't know. That's why I keep expecting the NFL to take care of these kind of people. I really do. Some of y'all say it's because these are owners and they scared. I'm like, no, they are franchisers. They are franchisers. And if they are like, look, I want to sell the team, the NFL got somebody else that can buy it. They have another business model that we see coming along. So in my opinion, I expect the NFL to hold these biased individuals accountable who believe that only one racial group in the NFL when it comes to players are a commodity and they don't have any opinions and they are disparaged because they are confident, which is upholding bias and a stereotype against one racial group. And I expect the NFL to take care of that. I believe that they can, and I believe that they should, expeditiously and yesterday. There's no need for us to be having this conversation with so many people coming out to defend Sheduer. It should have never happened in the first place, because the person that said it should have feared some type of consequence. But the fact that you didn't tells me that there's more of them, and it's that them that needs to go. And as a person that pays money towards this sport, as a customer, I expect them to do something about it, just like I would Chick-fil-A. These teams are franchises of the NFL, under the NFL umbrella, and it paints an ugly picture, and it's a stain on the league, and it feels old, outdated, and stodgy, and they just need to get rid of them. All right, so that's where we are. Oh, Crawley, I was waiting on you to tell us what Stephen A's comment was. So Josina Anderson was the person that I believe that said an unnamed NFL assistant reportedly describing the projected top 10 pick as brash and arrogant after a meeting. So Josina Anderson, I do believe she went back and she interviewed Sheduer herself. She is the person that said that the unnamed person, in my opinion, I guess if she would have named them, that maybe she would have got kicked out or whatever. But I do think that is not a way to conduct business. If you feel like you can put out a defamatory statement that somebody told you, because essentially you're repeating defamation, then you should be able to name your source, or you shouldn't say it. And that's how I feel about it. So that's how I feel about it. And like I said, Trevor Lawrence, he said what he said about the game. He don't play with a chip on his shoulder, and they were upset about it, and he issued a different statement. Again, Sheduer didn't even say anything that needs another statement to be issued. That's how preposterous this entire scenario is. That's how you know it's not about his skill set or a statement that he put out. There's nothing nobody's asking him to go back and retract because he didn't say anything. And they still drafted Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall. And that's a sharp contrast for how they're saying that Sheduer is going to drop, etc. And my thing is for the media to want to weaponize itself, the sports media to want to weaponize its access to these teams. Now remember, we're in a social media age. Do I really need you out here? Honestly, do I really need the media like we used to when it comes to the NFL? Sure, I want my media rights deals. I like that, right? But I don't need all these 50-11 reporters out here starting mess. I don't need that. I can go right here to social media and look up anybody who has access that wants to put out content that's factual. And that's exactly what has happened in the case of Sheduer Sanders. First, it was content creators, people that follow Colorado, people that just didn't agree. Then it became execs in the organization, different people that have interviewed Sheduer, and then it has moved on to different publications, that you don't typically see on social media, people who still have digital media in terms of publications. So it has graduated from content creators, people just with podcasts like this and others who let their voices be heard so much that, you had NFL people, insiders, like, he was great. He was poised. He's mature, laid back guy, who felt like, he was great to talk to, etc. And then now you have articles basically saying, hey, NFL teams, get used to it. This is the new normal. Your brash that you think is brash and is a negative is another team's positive, and it increases their interest in him even more so because he is confident. And maybe they had a quarterback that wasn't confident and they knew it held them back, so they want somebody that's unflappable. The fact that all of this hatred is coming on Sheduer and he's not bothered by it, that's just another plus for him. It's another feather in his cap. So no, Crowley, I have to go and look at Stephen A's comment about Sheduer. I don't think I've seen his show since Ocho Cinco was on it. So I have to go back and check it out. But let's see, we're at an hour. I guess we're getting ready to wrap up, and we shall be back tomorrow at 8:30. Oh, Crowley, let's see. It says, Stephen A says Sheduer is very confident because it's in his DNA. He said, do you know who his father is? Mr. Primetime himself. A lot of people don't like Prime. So they're trying to get at Sheduer. I saw a podcast put out a thumbnail, and it said the reason why this is happening to Sheduer is because of Coach Prime. I believe that is true to some extent. Of course, Sheduer is confident because of the man that raised him. But I keep telling y'all, there's something else going on here. It's something else going on here. And the something else I'm talking about is the same reason that Jalen Hurts was mistreated the way he was. That somebody said even CJ Stroud, they had some things to say negative about him. The same way Lamar Jackson was treated. See, that's the part. If you want to put this in a 3-part, yes, it's who his father is. He's the Sanders. Yes, it's because he's confident, but it's also because of this right here. It's called racial bias. And it only seems to be happening to these young Black quarterbacks. I use Trevor Lawrence's situation and what happened with him in 2021 for a reason to show you that an NFL prospect could actually say out loud that I like the game, but it's not necessarily the priority, or I don't play with a chip on my shoulder. You know, if I didn't have football, I'd be just fine. And yeah, they got upset about it, but they also drafted him number one. That is a sharp comparison as to what's going on with Sheduer. And that's the part that I'm telling you is racial bias. And somebody brought this up. They said, why isn't this happening to Cam Ward? I'm like, because they don't talk about Cam Ward. They don't even talk about Jalen Milroe. There are people that are calling this draft class of quarterbacks one of the worst in years that they can remember. I've seen these comments myself. You know, Cam Ward is a part of that draft class, right? That's not a compliment to Cam Ward. They don't talk about Cam Ward. To be honest with you, half the attention they give it to Sheduer, they need to give it to Cam Ward. But see, the problem is they're not concerned about Cam Ward. They not. It's like, oh, okay. You don't hear them spending all of this time about who he is, where he from, what he gonna do in the league. They just don't talk about him. They also don't talk about Jalen Milroe. All they're doing is disparaging Sheduer. And before the combine, all they could obsess over was Jackson Dart. But after the combine, you haven't heard that anymore, because that was fool's gold. I don't want Sheduer to be the superstar that he is. I don't want him to be seen as a superstar, because then all of these top 5 clubs that need a quarterback would try to get him at number 1. I told y'all weeks ago, they are so scared Sheduer is going to go first. They do not want Sheduer Sanders to go first. And not just because he's a Sanders. So yes, it is because he's a Sanders, but it is not solely because he's a Sanders, because Jalen Hurts is not a child of Deion Sanders. Neither is Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, both sacked 62 and 65 times respectively. Neither was Justin Fields. Let's see, who else? Neither was CJ Stroud. Who else? You get where I'm going with this? Neither was Lamar Jackson, the Heisman winner. None of those are Coach Prime's children, and they were all treated this way. It's just louder with Sheduer because he didn't say nothing. I told y'all there's an interview out there on Well Off Media. They did this exact same thing to Tiger Woods, and that is not Coach Prime's father. And y'all have never seen Tiger Woods be openly confident, because in that one interview where they asked him if he thought he could win and he said he could win, they told him he was being cocky, and he was looked like barely a teenager. So they broke him down. They succeeded with Tiger Woods. Sheduer won this round, but it's not over with, because just like Bryce Young was sacked 62 times, just like Caleb Williams was sacked 65 times, and CJ Stroud, O-line act like they didn't know how to play football this year, they coming for Sheduer. That's why the team that Sheduer goes to is important. That's why it needs to be the Raiders, because they're not going to tolerate it. That's why you kept hearing them say, oh, he's going to the Giants. They were trying to set him up for the okie doke, knowing that they would kill his career or bench him or not start him for the obvious reasons. They have never had a black starting quarterback. And if they fumble Saquon Barkley, they are not okay as an organization that you could believe that want to get to the Super Bowl right now. They didn't make an about face, especially where a black QB starting for the Giants is concerned. They didn't make that about face. They were playing with him. They were going to try to set him up. And you know so, because now look how you come out and say about him. You're trying to tear him down because why? He's confident? Like, that sounds so ridiculous. Go watch Evolution of a Black Quarterback to see the obstacles they put in these black quarterback path. Warren Moon, 22, talks about it all the time. He had to go to Canada first. There is more to it, but check it out, Stephen A. show. Yeah, I'll look it out. I'll look into it. I mean, Stephen A. is right, but that's not the only thing. And honestly, I don't even think it's fair to sit up and say it's just because he's a Sanders. Because what it does is it dismisses the way all the other black quarterbacks were treated. And what it does is it dismisses a pattern of racial bias. That's what it does when you say, oh, it's because he's a Sanders. No, it allows you to not hold accountable people who are showing racial bias to these young black quarterbacks who come into the league and start. They were perfectly fine with Michael Penix Jr. sitting on the bench. They did not want him to start in Atlanta. And look what happened. This is more than about the Sanders last name. That's a part of it. But this is a pattern of racial bias towards these young black starting quarterbacks. If you don't believe me, just go look at it. All you have to do is go back to Lamar Jackson. But then when you go sit down and you watch Evolution of a Black Quarterback, it just paints the picture for everybody that had to endure being switched or go to Canada first, or Lamar Jackson standing up for himself and not working out as a wide receiver. And look at how he's being treated. We all agree he got robbed for his third MVP. They do not want Lamar Jackson to be successful, get to the Super Bowl, and win, because it proves that clan, that faction of people in the NFL, that they were wrong. They want to keep black quarterbacks in place. Exactly. They do not want black quarterbacks to, one, be successful, two, be the majority. And I told y'all this was that year. Yeah, it's a pattern of racial bias. And putting it off on Sheduer Sanders, no. Because next year it's going to be somebody else. And it could be Caden Salter. It could be. He's confident. He's just confident as Coach Prime. You ever saw any highlights and clips of Caden? It's not just about, that's a part of it. Sure. Because they didn't want Coach Prime to be a coach in the so-called Power 5, which might be a Power 4, which might be a Power 5 again. Yeah, that we found out really wasn't all of that. Sheduer's nickname came at the TCU game afterwards, throwing for 500 yards as Mr. 500. Look at how they hated on him in college. So this shouldn't be a surprise. But Sheduer won this round. It's so many people coming out and speaking about it, to the point where it's like the haters just kind of had to go back into their little hole. But they'll be back, and so will we. It's a pattern of racial bias toward these young black quarterbacks. I told y'all this was my theory. Yes, that's what's happening. Just go watch Evolution of a Black Quarterback to see how long it's been going on. And then you won't be surprised at what happened to Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. And it'll make sense to you, unfortunately, why they keep hating on Jalen Hurts. And then it'll make sense to you on why they hating on Sheduer Sanders. And next year, it'll make sense to you when the top three quarterbacks are also black in the first round, why they gonna hate on one or two or possibly all three of them. A pattern of racial bias towards black quarterbacks in the NFL. And since Lamar Jackson, young dual threat quarterbacks that start. They don't want these guys to start. So that's it. That is it. All right, we're gonna get out of here. This was an excellent conversation. As I basically say, when you get into an area where, you have one group being ostracized or whatever, I'm gonna call it out. And when it's somebody that you've been following since their high school days, like I said, won several state championships. He was being modest when he said he changed 2 programs. He changed 3. So a team that's poised to get him, be it the Browns, the Saints, the Raiders, or the Jets, because the Jets are not out of the question for Sheduer either. But I do think that Cam Ward is probably going to be wearing green and white as a New York Jets, and I like that for him. So, we shall see, but I'm just happy that everybody came out in support of Sheduer and talking down these guys who are really just doing nothing but spewing racial bias and hatred and trying to package it up as that's Coach Prime's son. No. You mad because he young, he black, he's wealthy, he's educated, and he's a winner. And you know he gonna go to the league and ball out. Provided you don't sabotage him, he's gonna be just fine. And they don't want that. Look at Jada Daniels. So if Jada Daniels could do it, it's not out of the question. CJ Stroud almost got there. So you need to pay attention to how Jaden, if anybody's trying to sabotage Jaden, if his O-line suddenly can't play, then that just feeds into what I'm saying. Thank you, Queen T. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. I could probably talk about this all day. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to get out of here. I will go look at Stephen A's comment. Crowley, thank you for sharing that. I will definitely go look at it and see what he's talking about there. And we'll be back tomorrow, Friday. I'm going to go live a little later. So look for the notification. I go live a little later on Fridays just because people generally go out to eat, things of that nature. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Look for the notification. It'll be later. Thank y'all so much. And please make sure I have 19 likes. I do see that there are 19 of us in here. Yay! Please make sure I have 19 likes. Hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Don't be stingy with the like button. And if anything pops up, don't forget, any breaking news that y'all find out about and I haven't gone live yet, remember, we have a community on YouTube. All you have to do is when you go to community, hit the community tab. And for my page, y'all can leave like posts and it creates like a mini threads for just this page. So hopefully y'all can find it and we can have conversation continuing on until we get back to the next live stream. So go to community on your YouTube channel and look for my page and we can start a conversation. All right. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna give y'all a few seconds to wrap up y'all's conversation because y'all usually engage with each other and I think that that's great. Thank you.